Okay, hello, this is a progress report on my health and just what I'm doing right now, um, with kind of struggling with the spectrum of chronic fatigue, and where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I made this document to track my symptom progress, to know the levels of the severity of the ones I still have, and then ones that have been cured or severely reduced thanks to what I'm doing. And most or all of my symptoms have been cured, I think, from doing the Andy Cutler protocol, which is a chelation protocol designed by a chemist from Princeton University that is made for safely chelating mercury and other heavy metals out of the body. And it is the only really safe way to get the mercury out without redistributing it and making yourself worse, which is what every other protocol for detox does. So this chemist knew the pharmacokinetics of how to chelate safely and minimize redistribution and have like a net lessening of mercury over time instead of it accumulating in the brain and liver, which it does on any other protocol. So I've done 56 rounds of the Cutler protocol, and I'll put a link in the description for the details of how to do it. I don't want to explain the whole thing here for how the protocol works. But I am sick, and I was really, really sick. I do feel better over time. I'm still struggling with major depression, but right now I'm able to make this video because I took some caffeine, and that gives me a temporary boost, which Adderall and amphetamine is like the ultimate thing that helps me get a short-term boost, but I can't take that right now because I'm on Parnate, monoamine oxidase inhibitor, and that's unsafe to take Adderall with. So I'm waiting for the Parnate to hopefully kick in, and Cutler recommends to try MAOIs because they're fast-acting, especially for mercury-toxic individuals. But caffeine is a short-term motivation booster. My biggest problem is anhedonia and complete avolition, lack of motivation, and apathy, kind of. So I've done 56 rounds of the Cutler protocol, and I started doing rounds in around June of 2014. So it's been about 2.5 years that I've been doing this. On and off. I've taken breaks, which I don't recommend. I think you should just do it every week if you're sick. And anyway, I've had symptoms my whole life, and my family also. Everyone in my family has symptoms, health quirks that, have no cure, like arthritis, seizures, bipolar, alcoholism, insomnia, dementia. All that stuff runs in my family, and of course none of these people get better. I'm the only one who's had any luck with alleviating these things. So I grew up my whole life with insomnia since from birth. I was never able to sleep right. I always was hyper at night, always, as long as I can remember. It was like such a bane on my existence. Well, as a kid, it's normal to be energetic, so I didn't think of it as horrible, but it's not normal. I could not sleep at all. It was always a struggle every night. My insomnia is cured, and it was cured around 20 to 30 rounds in, and I never really even realized it till I started listing what has been cured. It is gone. My insomnia is cured. And there are people in my family who are going into their 60s with lifelong insomnia, and they're still suffering with it. So I would have just suffered with it my whole life had I not done this. It is cured. I can lay down and mostly on command, when I choose to, fall asleep. There's really no struggle. I don't need any sleep aid or anything. It's my circadian rhythm has normalized for the most part. I also had extreme frequent urination that was so torturous getting up 3 or 4 or more times a night, and having to go to the bathroom so much over the course of an hour to even my friends and family would comment on how much I'm going. It was ridiculous. That is, for the most part, gone. If I guzzle water, I'll have it, but that might be normal. Otherwise, I get up maybe 1 time a night at most if I drink a lot of liquid. Otherwise, I don't at all. It is cured. And by the way, all these symptoms I'm listing and the ones I'm going to list, I've seen every specialist you can think of about them, and none of them had any answers for me. They were usually telling me to go outside and stop worrying about it, or some of them would get annoyed. Just ridiculous, pathetic, idiotic behavior from almost every doctor I've ever seen. They're my most disdained profession. They're absolute morons for the most part. I do have a decent one right now. I know a few decent ones, but for the most part, the scientists like Andy Cutler and Ray Pete, the non-clinicians, doctors are just trained technicians that know how to read lab tests and prescribe drugs that were marketed to them. I really, can't stand doctors. They suck. So I had ejaculatory anhedonia. I lost the ability to have an orgasm, and that lasted for a long time. And I got that after improperly chelating by a doctor who gave me DMPS IV injections, which is one of the most dangerous things you can do if you have mercury, or for anyone. It redistributes mercury severely into the brain and liver and other organs, fatty organs. And a few months after I got that, I developed the inability to have an orgasm. It was just a numb ejaculation. It was absolutely horrible. And this was as a teenager. There's a forum for people with that illness, and none of them get better. None of them know what to do. I may be one of the only people who's gotten better. So that's completely gone. I also improperly chelated with eating cilantro, which redistributes mercury into the brain. That also, I was doing that the same time I was getting the IV injections. That all made me way worse. I aged so much. I got so much worse over the time I did that. So I'm slowly getting back and getting better. I used to have adrenaline and breathlessness when talking to people. I would get so nervous while trying to express myself for no reason that I would get out of breath and be hyperventilating. That's for the most part gone. I don't notice that anymore. I'm able to express myself much more calmly. I used to have really bad orthostatic hypotension. When I would stand up, I would get really dizzy, or sometimes I would go blind. A few times I fainted just from stretching back. I would wake up on the floor. That was how severe it was, and my GP, my pediatrician, said, "Oh, that's normal. That's orthostatic hypotension. Some people have it." And I said, "Well, no, I didn't have it my whole life. I got it. It developed. So that's not." And she goes out. She told me to go outside and stop worrying about it. So of course, so that's gone. Hyperacusis. I had sensitivity to noise that was painful. Loud noises, or even low noises, or even just silence was irritating and painful in a sensory sense to my ear and eardrums. I would need a white noise machine at all times just to not be in excruciation. That's for the most part gone. I'm sure if you were to blast noise in my ears, that would hurt, but I don't think about it. It's not really noticeable. It's a lot better. I had air hunger. I had the feeling of not being able to catch my breath, even when sedentary. Just breathlessness. Not like when you work out and you're out of breath. It's more of it's the feeling that no matter how deep of a breath you take, you're not getting enough oxygen. You feel like you're suffocating, like there's a weight on your rib cage or something. That's gone. And I think that was, it was from mercury, but it was either a mineral deficiency, magnesium and potassium, salt, calcium, or it was a mitochondria problem. So I was taking CoQ10, and I've started supplementing, as Cutler says is essential, with his core 4 supplements that he recommends, which is magnesium, zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin E every single day. That, as I started doing that on the daily, which is needed in his protocol, that went away, and it rapidly went away. I thought it was going to be a long time that it was gone. And I'm also on thyroid, natural thyroid, and I take adrenal support, which is adrenal cortex extract. That might have also helped because low thyroid causes air hunger as well. I have had lifelong constipation, always, as a young child. IBS, constipation. I even had colic and maybe colitis. I don't know what colitis is, but I might have had that. But I had colic, which is related to all this. But constipation that nothing would really remedy. Laxatives wouldn't really help me. The doctor gave me all this shit. That never worked. So now that I'm on the Core 4 with vitamin C and magnesium, that has essentially cured the constipation. It keeps me regular. Otherwise, before I was chelated enough, I would need ridiculous amounts of fiber just to be regular. Like I would need to take 5 to 7 pills of psyllium husk fiber, which like on the bottle it says take 1 or 2. I would need like 7. So it was ridiculous. That's a lot better. I'm not constipated anymore after a lifetime of, to the point that I would be hospitalized because it became so severe, and then they would give me cranberry juice and send me home without offering a long-term solution because they don't have one. I had halitosis, which is persistent bad breath despite having good oral hygiene. It's from yeast overgrowth, I imagine, in the gut, which is due to mercury. I had that really badly for a while, and it's mainly gone now. I don't notice it at all. It used to be very noticeable. I would brush my teeth, floss, and use mouthwash, and then go out, and in an hour I would be able to realize that my breath smelled. So it was a thrush and then all that coming from my gut. That's gone. I mean, with oral hygiene is enough now that my breath smells benign. It doesn't smell bad anymore. And when I got really sick, I had extreme difficulty reading, and it was like an untreatable form of ADD. Like even on Adderall, I still couldn't concentrate. I would read, but my brain couldn't process what I was reading, so I'd have to reread it and reread it and reread it and reread it, and my brain couldn't get the information in and process the words that I was hearing. It was just like garble, and I would get very frustrated. And it would take me way longer to read things that other people could read, I felt. And even to the, well, and that's a lot better. That's severely reduced to the point where I can go through a paragraph or a page and then look back and go, oh, I just read that all the way through without even stopping. It used to be like every sentence was a struggle. It was like great effort to just get a sentence in. It was exhausting. And in Cutler's book, Amalgam Illness, he does talk about how the brain fog, he describes it as you're unable to think without great effort. And that is definitely what it was like. And it's a lot better. I'm very thankful for that. I still have brain fog wherein, and it only happens sometimes, and I don't know what the factor is, but where people will talk to me, and then once they're done their sentence, I have to kind of look up and turn my head and process what they just said, because I kind of am either in my head and get distracted, or I lose focus. I mean, that's just a mild version of ADD, and ADD is caused by mercury as well, of course it is. So that's about it. I'm also trying to eat a good diet. I'm weightlifting, and I'm trying to find a medication that will alleviate my motivation and anhedonia in the meantime for the next several years or less, as I chelate and cure both those symptoms. The symptoms I still have right now are anhedonia, which I rated as a 4.5 out of 10, where it used to be like a 10 out of 10. It's a 4.5 now. Avolition, which is lack of motivation, is a 4.5 out of 10, which that's outdated. I'd probably say right now it's like a 6 or a 7. It's very hard to motivate myself to do anything. Social anxiety is a 4. Yeah, I guess so. It's progressively getting better. It used to be really bad. It's a lot better. I don't know what number I'd give that, but I'd say it's a lot better. Prostatitis, which I saw a specialist for, and he found nothing but very difficult to urinate and all that. The muscles were just very tense. That's so much better. I should put that up in the list of reduced symptoms. That's a lot better. I had that for years. Fatigue it's an 8 out of 10 on this list. That's fatigue right now. It's like a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, or a 5, depending on the day. But no, my energy's better. IBS, I still have it, 7 out of 10. Tinnitus, 4 out of 10. I've also had tinnitus my whole life. Um, and it was really bad for a while. And medications like SSRIs would make it a lot worse, severely worse. And it's gotten better, I think. And I do believe it'll go away completely with chelation. Everyone in my family talks about how they have ringing, but most of them think it's normal and that everyone has it, but they don't. That's not normal. Paresthesia, which is just like tingling or numbness in various parts of the body, I give that 3 out of 10. I get occasional bouts of that for unknown reasons. Migraine visuals, which is look up HPPD or visual snow, which I have, and that has not really improved, and it's been kind of constant since I got it, and a lot of Mercury people don't have it, most of them don't, and it's more of an unknown thing that has to do with an uninhibition of a disinhibition of sensory information coming in. There's like the filter of your retina and brain, get distorted, and so I'm able to see like visual static and colors. And think about when you close your eyes and rub them fast, you get these closed eye colors. I see that all the time in my open eye vision. So whatever, I'm used to it. It doesn't really bother me. Head pressure used to be really bad. That sucked. It was just a feeling of, as Cutler says in his book, a tight band wrapped around the head, or like a vice, like pressure. That's reduced a lot. I listed it here as a 7. It used to be a friggin' 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. I'd say right now it's like a 3 or a 2. It's getting better. I'm very pleasantly relieved. Dry hair, that's still a problem. That's like a 10 out of 10. I'm trying to fix that with zinc, vitamin E. I'm hoping that, and a lot of protein will help that. I might have to start putting molasses or olive oil or coconut oil into my hair. I really don't know what is going on with my hair that I need. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure that out. Addictive personality, that's like a 4. That's even less at this point. It's like a 2 right now. It was really bad for a while, and I don't think addiction is a real thing. The biologist Ray Peat kind of describes it as the organism trying to relieve stress. So if stress is persistent and constant and chronic, of course, you're going to have an addiction, and then you become an alcoholic. But then, like, people in AA smoke cigarettes every 5 minutes, so they're still addicts. It doesn't make any sense. So I would be addicted to alcohol one several month period, and then I would get addicted to marijuana, and then I would get addicted to Adderall, cigarettes, like it's just because of my stress state, I'm picking things that will relieve the stress. Once you remove the stress, the addiction will fall off. It'll melt off. So addiction isn't really real. Burning eyes, that right now that's like a 4 or 5. It used to be excruciating. My eyes would burn all the time, and I think that was from eating thiol foods, which some people, a lot of, like half the people with mercury poisoning can't tolerate thiol foods, which are things like cheese, dairy, I think, I don't know, any food that has a single thiol group or one binding site in the food, which basically it picks up mercury molecules and redistributes them, so you're constantly just moving mercury around and giving yourself symptoms and feeling horrible. So I'll post that in the description too, just out of interest. And GERD, well, that kind of fluctuates. I don't really know what makes it better or worse. But it's like a burning feeling in the stomach and like acid reflux and all that. And that fluctuates. Right now it's like a 3, 4, 5. Sometimes it's a 9. Other times it's a 0. I've been trying coconut oil and raw daily baby carrots for that, which Ray Peat recommends the raw carrot salad as his weapon against digestive problems and hormone problems. It's a natural antibiotic and antiseptic. And it does help me, honestly. Just eating 2 or 3 baby carrots a day has made a big difference. It's like miraculous. I love the simplistic home remedies. So that's about it. I think this was a good experience to make this video, and I'm probably going to update as things move on and as I learn new interesting things. Thanks for watching.